Hey there. Thank you for joining me here today. I am Ursula Abrish, an art photographer based in the West Kootenays in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. I am honored to be the very first artist to give a presentation for the brand new ArtDotCom studio. I started out as a hobbyist, making pictures of my family and my friends, and then of flowers and of views when we went traveling or camping. Over time, and especially with the advent of digital, I became better at making photos, and eventually I became interested in art photography, especially in abstract art photography. However, I still make many pictures just for the fun of it and just for my own memories. Art is beautiful, not only as a distraction, but as an integral part of life itself. I think especially at this time that we're going through right now. With my presentation and photos today, I hope to give both joy in the beauty all around us and inspiration for parents, for children, for older people like myself to try new things with a camera, with any camera, and a computer or a tablet or phone. I do a lot of my editing on my iPad. I wanted to quickly show you the cameras that I use. I use my phone, really handy. I have a small Lumix. This one is really handy because you can both throw it into your pack when you go backpacking, or you can take it underwater. It goes up to 40 feet underwater, so it's really handy when you go swimming in the lake. I also have a Fuji. It's a 3/4 mirrorless, so it's very, very light. It's another one that's easy to take along if you go in the backwoods. But my workhorse camera is my Nikon D850. I love this one, but I don't use it for backpacking. It's way too heavy. Anyway, let's begin. I would like to talk about two of my images today. Carefree is one of them, and the other one is this one here, that is Imagine Seedlings. Imagine Seedlings is much newer. This is Carefree here. Imagine Seedlings and Carefree were made almost 10 years apart. Carefree was made on September 22 of 2009, and Imagine Seedlings was made on February 10 of 2019, so almost 10 years apart. Carefree was made outdoors in the mountains above Rossland, British Columbia. It was a beautiful, warm, early fall day, and I was in the mountains looking for early fall color. I didn't find much color because the trees weren't turning quite yet, but the huckleberry bushes were nice and red. I found a bunch of leftover oxide daisies and a bunch of beer cans and some shot up signs and all kinds of stuff. But then I found Carefree. Carefree is a close-up of the Western salsify flower. Let me show you a picture of the flower. This is the Western salsify flower. It kind of grows all over the place. The Latin name is Tragopogon dubius. My daughters and I, when we see one of them, like to say, hey, look, there's a dubius, which for some reason we think is really funny, but I don't know if it is. This is the seed head of the Western salsify. The salsify is part of the sunflower family, so it kind of like in the morning it's closed up in a bud. Then when the sun comes out, it kind of opens up and it follows the sun all over the sky, and then it closes down at night again. Once it turns into a seed head, it's a rather large seed head, I'd say 3 to 4 inches across. This is one of them. I collect them in the summer and keep them, not too many of them, because if they fall apart, the seed things get all over the place. Anyway, for Carefree, for those who are interested in the technicals, it was made with my old Nikon D200 with the Sigma 150 macro lens at f4.5, so lens fully open, and 1/500th of a second shutter speed, handheld, no flash. Editing was simple. It was a curves adjustment, slight crop, and a bit of a color intensification, not much editing. There were a whole pile of seed heads there on that side of the mountain, and I made quite a number of pictures of them. I settled on Carefree because I really liked the crooked seedling here. At left, you can see one of the seedlings is kind of crooked, and I thought that was so pretty, so that's how I settled on that one. One of the things I really love about digital photography is that it allows for unlimited experimentation. You can shoot lots of pictures and try out new things without any problem. It is fun, and kids are really good at this, so remember that. The next picture I'd like to talk about is Imagine Seedlings, and that's this one, which was made almost 10 years apart from the first one. It was made from a seedling indoors like this one here. I sprayed it with plain water with one of my little sprayers like this. No water in here now. Seedling sprayer. Be careful when you spray it so that the seedlings don't fly off. This is the little seedlings, the little individual seedlings. I don't know if you can see them. They have a tendency to fly off and kind of go all over the place. I sprayed it with water, placed it in a sunny window, and shot a bunch of close-ups. I shot from higher up and from lower down. I turned the vase and turned the seedling to get different views. I shot from closer up, from further away. Whatever looked good in my viewfinder. So whenever you are, my son is here. Hi, Martin. Anyway. So, get going on. I'm sorry, I got a little bit sidetracked here. So, why would you want to get close to a subject? I guess the main reason is that often less is more. For example, let me show you this here. This is a picture of my window that faces west. I have a pile of vases in the window. I have pictures on the wall. I have little toys and other things on the windowsill. You can see the tall trees outside, the mountains in the distance, the lake. If you get a bit closer, you start eliminating clutter and distractions, and you start focusing on just the subject. And then you can get even closer, and you can limit the picture to essentials such as color, line, and shape. For example, these two pictures here, this one and this one, are two pictures of exactly the same scene I just showed you a moment ago. This is a close-up of the red vase. This one here is the orange, the red, and the purple. Those are vases from IKEA. So let me ask you a question that's kind of out of the blue here, but it's something that you might want to remember if you're making pictures. These pictures that are done on the horizontal are called landscape orientation. The ones that are done on the vertical are called portrait orientation. When is the best time to shoot a portrait orientation picture? How do you know? The answer is the best time to shoot a portrait is right after you shoot a landscape. And the reason for that is kind of a silly thing to say, but the reason for that is that you don't often know which one is going to work best. So try them both ways. The idea behind saying that is experiment, try. Don't just get stuck shooting things landscape or shooting stuff with your phone always straight up like this. Turn it around, shoot like that, shoot diagonally, shoot whatever you want. How do you get close to a subject? Physically, you get close to a subject either by moving the subject closer to the camera. Here's the camera, here's the subject. You move it closer to the camera, or the other way around is by moving the camera closer to the subject. I need to regroup here. Okay, moving closer to the subject or moving the subject closer to the camera. So if I move my head closer or farther away, that's one way of moving closer. Optically is the second way to move closer, and you zoom into your subject either by using the lens of the camera. This is a zoom lens, so it zooms in and out. or by using a digital zoom like they have on the iPhone, where you can either pinch or kind of contract the screen and make it bigger or smaller, so you're actually bringing the subject closer to you. And the third way to do this is in post-processing. This is the second image that I was talking about, Imagine Seedlings. And here you can see the finished image. The thing behind it is the original. As you can tell, I cut off the top and the side and a little bit of the bottom, a little bit at the left, because even though those looked all right, they didn't add anything to the image, and if anything, they probably made it confusing. So it's better to kind of like just show what you want to show and not show a bunch of other stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the picture. But there are some times when you actually want to pull back a little bit more. For example, I love poppies. I really like poppies, the flower. I was in the Palouse area of Washington in the USA, and there were quite a few poppies there. I made lots of poppy images for a couple days. I made a bunch of close-ups, and a lot of them came out very beautiful. I really liked them. But my favorite picture from that time is this one, the one I'm showing right now, because I think it shows a better story, a better, more complete story of what the poppy is all about. It has the grasses around it. It has spent poppy seed heads kind of close by. It has the blue sky behind it with some white clouds, some out of focus stuff. And I just really like this one much better than the ones where I really zoomed in on the poppy. So sometimes it is good to pull back a little bit more. Something to remember. Finally here, what subjects work for close-ups? Well, outdoors, pretty much anything. Outdoors you can make pictures of flowers, grasses, leaves, mosses, mushrooms, whatever catches your fancy. But many of us are stuck indoors right now, so what about subjects for indoor close-up? Let me show you some of my pictures of indoor stuff, and I'll show you the props I used for it. Here's the first one. This is a picture of paper. Now the paper I have here is white, but this was color typing paper. I taped it together at one end and fanned it out, kind of like what I was doing here, like this, and made a picture of the edges of the paper and with some light shining through it. The color comes from the paper itself because the paper was in different colors. Something else that works really well and it's a lot of fun to experiment are marbles and those things that are called aquarium glasses. They are little glass pieces in various kind of flat pieces. They come in various colors, bluish and pinkish and transparent. They are a lot of fun to work with because they lay nice and flat. What I did here with this picture is put it in a pan, a transparent pan, like a baking pan, like a Pyrex, and put the pan on two books on the side so that there be a space underneath, and put my iPad underneath with some colorful stuff on it, shone the light of the iPad through the glass pieces, and shot the picture. You can try all kinds of stuff with these things. They're a lot of fun to experiment with. Another thing you can use is vases, flower vases. This picture here is these two vases. I don't know if you can kind of see it. It's this section over here. Again, what's showing through is light from my computer screen. I use my computer screen a lot in backdrops. Another thing you can use is straws. These are plastic straws. The ones over here are plastic straws. I lined up a bunch of them and taped them to a window and made pictures of them. I think this is a very good example of how getting closer to a subject makes you see the essentials of the picture more so than of the subject itself, because here you concentrate on the lines and on the shape of this, which looks like a song, a staff. And I don't know, I just like experimenting. One of my daughters gave me these here. These are paper straws. They look like birch trees. I haven't done any pictures with them yet, but I hope to do it real soon. And if you go to the dollar store, so one of those stores in Vancouver, there is some Japanese dollar stores, and they have all kinds of little things that make fantastic pictures. This is another one of straws, and I just wanted to show this one here. You don't have to put the straws vertical. You can go in like them, like frontwards like that on them. In this picture here, what I actually did is get the camera right next to the straw, so like right here, not quite that close, but just about. And I focused on the back of the straw. So if you imagine the straws, you're looking at the front here, and then you're looking at the back side. The focus is on the back side. So what you see is the little circles, which is the back side. The bigger circles are the back side, and the little circles are the out of focus front sides. It kind of works backwards. And one more I'd like to show is glasses. I like working with glasses. This is this glass here. I made this picture probably another 10 years ago. What we did with this one, what my daughter and I did with this one, is put the camera on a tripod in a totally dark room in the basement. I put on a dark shirt. It was a turtleneck, and I covered my hand like this, and I had a flashlight, and so I put the flashlight behind the bottle, and my daughter was holding the bottle, I think, behind the bottle and the glass, and tried to make it look like the light is pouring out of the bottle and into the glass. Feathers is another one that's a really good thing that you can use. You can find feathers while walking around. This one is nice and orange and black. The one over here was just a plain feather. And one more, where is it? Here, glass. This is another vase. This is the vase I used for that. And I put it like this in front of my computer and had light shine through it. It's hard to do this here. And made pictures of it. One tip, if you're going to work with glass, make sure that it is really clean, because if you do a close-up of glass and there's any little bit of dust spots on it or like water spots, it looks terrible. So you have to make absolutely sure that your glass is very, very clean. Anyway, let your imagination roam around your home and let your children explore with the camera, phone. Force your old parents to try it out. Have fun. And don't forget to collect seedlings when you see them and make pictures of them. They are beautiful. These are some of the seedling photos. So, all right, this is the end of my presentation, and I'd like to take some questions now. I probably will not be able to answer all of them, but I'll try to answer some in the time that's left. So let me see if I can do this. What's your favorite flower to shoot? All right. My favorite flower to shoot is the poppy. I like poppies. I really like poppies. I've always liked them. My second favorite one is daisies. I love daisies. When I was a little girl, I used to love playing with daisies. I would fix them when they would break and stuff like that. But and my third one is roses. I really like roses. I hope that answers your question, Cassie. Another question is, where's your favorite place to shoot? My favorite place to shoot, it just changes, but my favorite place to be is by water. I like to go to the lake or to a river, creeks up in the mountains. I love the mountains, and I love being outdoors, so I like shooting outdoors. In the house, my room here. I hope that answers your question. Another question. What camera would you recommend for beginners? Whatever you have available. I wouldn't go out and and buy anything. I mean, pretty much everybody has a camera, and like I would say the phone is a really good place to start. If you want to buy a camera, it just, ask the people at the store and they will help you with your budget and with your needs, what you want to use it for. If you want to do a lot of experimenting, nothing beats a DSLR because you can have so much more control than what you have with a phone or with a little point and shoot. But just whatever you have available. And like somebody asked the other day about what if you don't have a camera. Well, if you don't have a camera, use paper and draw, or whatever you have, whatever inspires your creativity. What's my Instagram? It's Ursula's Photos, one word, URSULASPHOTOS. I hope that answers that one. What is the best light to use indoors? I like using natural light, but I often use a flash also. I hardly ever use it as a fill. The way that I think people use, I'm not very good with flashes, but I believe that people use flashes as fill when you want some extra light, basically, something like that. I use flashes for a lot of my close-ups of water that I do simply because natural light is too weak to catch the movement of the water in the conditions that I'm doing it, which is kind of dark. But I like natural light, and I very much also really like backlighting, which is light behind the subject. So if you think this is your subject and this is your light, so you would have your light behind your subject and you'll be shooting from this side. I hope that answers the question. What inspires me now? What inspires you now? Right at the moment, I am looking forward to spring. We still have snow around here. It's been a long winter, and I am kind of tired of the snow, and I'm really looking forward to the mosses and the little flowers that are going to come out. But the other one that inspires me a lot is water. Now, in the spring here, the waters are going to get higher in the creeks. They're going to get kind of wild and funny colors and so on. So it's going to be a good time to go look at water and work with water. What have you been shooting lately? That's a interesting question because I have not been shooting a whole lot lately. And a lot of it is because I've been working on making videos and on getting ready for a live show that I have in mid-May, hopefully, in a gallery in a cusp. So I've been getting photos ready for that. And also because it's been rather cold and I just am lazy and don't want to go out. But I did go down to California about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I spent a few days only. We had to come back to Canada really fast because of the COVID, but I spent 3 days in Monterey, and I got to see a lot of calla lilies, and I shot a bunch of calla lilies, and I wish I could spend more time there. It was beautiful. All right. Somebody said Ursula's photographs doesn't work. It is not Ursula's photographs. It's Ursula's PHOTOS. So Ursula's photos, not the graph. I hope that helps. What time of the day is best to shoot indoors? It really depends on what you want to shoot. For my close-up water pictures, I like to shoot when the light is not too bright because there's less reflections on the water at that time. So I sometimes shoot in the dark at night, and not at night, in the evening, or in the late afternoon. But it just again depends. I think you can pretty much make the best of whatever time there is. Um, I'm trying to think here. The best time to shoot indoors. Some of my seedling pictures I like to shoot in the middle of the day when the sun is really bright. But I don't know. It's like most things. It just really depends on what you want to do and experiment with it. I hope that answers the question. Does anybody have any other questions? I am kind of out of questions here, and which is kind of sad, but it's the way it goes. I still have a few minutes, so if somebody would like to ask another question, I would like that. All right, no questions. Let's see. Somebody says, do you have your work on ArtDotCom? Yes, I have pretty much all my work on ArtDotCom. I mean, not my private work, but pretty much all my public work. I wanted to say one other thing about the iPhone. My husband and I went to Ireland not so very long ago, in November of last year. This photo here was shot with the iPhone. It's the window in the washroom of one of the hotels we were staying in Doolin, Ireland. Okay, I needed to get this. I printed this one on a large piece of paper. This is a 12 by 18, and it came out beautiful. So you can get some really fantastic shots with the iPhone, sorry. Another question, do you use a macro lens? Yes, I do use a macro lens. I have a Nikon micro Nikon 105, the Nikon 105 micro. I like that one. Before that, I had a Sigma 105 and a Sigma 150. The Sigma 105 was my first one, and it was a plastic lens, and I used it so much that it finally broke, so I got the 150. I used that one for a long time, but I prefer a slightly shorter lens. The 150 is a little bit too long for my taste, so I use the 105. I really like the length of that one. Do you have a favorite macro lens? Well, that is my 105 micro Nikon. It's a fantastic lens. It's a really, really beautiful lens, and I basically keep it on the camera all the time. I should probably change lenses occasionally, but I don't very often because I like using this one. Do you have tips on how to shoot food still life? Oh, goodness. No, I don't think I do have very many. I heard from somebody that one of the things about shooting strawberries, I have no idea why I heard that, but that they use glycerin to make them nice and shiny and stuff like that. If you search on the net, there's a lot of things on the net about it. I'm sorry I can't answer that question better. I don't shoot food, and I don't really have any tips for it. I'm sorry. Oops. Favorite gallery, meaning like a live gallery where you go. I have relatives in Chicago, and I love going to the museum downtown there, the one that has a lot of works by Georgia O'Keeffe, including that one huge piece of hers that's just clouds and sky, and some of her older pieces made in New York, where she has like pictures of windows and stuff like that. It's just beautiful. So I would say that that's my favorite gallery. Locally, my favorite gallery is in Nakasp. It's a small gallery called Studio Connection, and the lady who runs it is just really nice, and I enjoy going there and looking at new paintings and new stuff. Anyway, not that anybody's gonna come to my part of the woods. Do you use film? No, not anymore. I used to shoot film, but once digital came around, yes, the Art Institute of Chicago, that's the one. Anyway, do I use film? No, not anymore. I used to use it, but not anymore. It's kind of like, it was simply, it didn't allow me for enough experimentation. Why are some adults scared of taking pictures later in life? I don't know. Why are they? Maybe because people are just scared of stuff all the time. Like, like I would like to dance, and I'm often very scared of dancing because I figure that I'm going to make an idiot of myself. So, um, I don't know why they're scared, but go out and shoot anyway, even if you are scared. Somebody asked you, when you shoot dandelions, do you add water droplets in photo shoot? No, I don't add them in Photoshop. I add them with my little spray can, or if it's been raining, they come up by themselves. Anyway, I have to stop. It's a little bit after 2:30, and I was supposed to stop at 2:30 here. It's time to end. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. There will be others here at the studio. Do tell your friends and family about the brand new ArtDotCom studio. They'd love to see you there in the future. Go to ArtDotCom/Ursula to discover my art collection. Enjoy, and thank you very much. I enjoyed being here. Bye.